All right, welcome back. We're already having a conversation here. You're going to want to hear what this is all about. I mean, it's about cybercrime, and I think it's something we need to be more educated about. Recent reports have stated that 48% of smartphone users do not have security softwares or passwords on their devices. These basic precautions are part of the reason as to why 70% of South Africa's population has fallen victim to cybercrime. We're now joined in studio by the managing director of Cyanre. I'm going to ask you for the proper pronunciation, Danny Myburgh, to tell us more about the cybercrime. How is it, Cyanre?
Cyanre, the Computer Forensic Lab, and thank you very much for the opportunity to chat with you.
Thanks for being with us. Now, let's get a little bit more technical. How bad is the situation of cybercrime in South Africa?
Well, we are a private company operating on instruction from clients, so we don't see the full picture. But with our involvement in different forums in South Africa, we can say that we have a rife problem in terms of syndicates operating in South Africa, not necessarily South African-based syndicates alone, but also international syndicates targeting South Africa. So yes, the problem is extensive. If we look at South Africa and internationally, cybercrime and cyber threats has been prioritized virtually everywhere as a priority for governments to address.
What are some of the common cybercrime patterns that you've been noticing in South Africa?
Okay. What we perceive is that cybercrime and cyber threats can be divided into a couple of areas. We talk about cyber threats, we talk about cyber crimes, we talk about cyber warfare and cyber terrorism. South Africa has not fallen victim to a lot of cyber terrorism and cyber warfare yet, because we are a peace-loving nation. But in terms of cybercrime, we see a large attack in terms of phishing websites, spyware activities, and also we can't forget about the biggest threat of all, the employee. We see that a lot of fraud and corruption on computer systems is still taking place by normal employees perpetrating it. So
I'm having a look at some of the figures coming out, and says 38% of the world's population has experienced mobile cybercrime, while 47% of South Africans are victimed to mobile cybercrime. So it seems that we are above the global average.
The mobile technology is still very new, and it takes a while for us to basically learn how to protect us. So yes, we're perceiving that, as I mentioned in the break, that we've seen the reports between hacker organizations where they're advising each other to rather focus on attacking mobile devices than attacking your computer systems, because we've spent a lot of time perfecting the security we've learned internationally in terms of how to protect our banks and our financial institutions. But the syndicates now has adopted the approach in terms of rather attacking the applications. The user downloads the application to his mobile device, walks into the organization, connects it to the secure network, and then the penetration has already passed the firewalls. So it makes it a lot easier for syndicates to operate and criminals to operate by attacking the mobile devices.
Well, I mean, I must say, I'm possibly also part of the ignorant, because, I will automatically download an app onto my phone and I'll think that, everything's okay. But what do I need to ensure that I am okay? Because, the last thing I want is to be a part of these millions of cybercrime victims, especially with mobile phones, where literally you run your life from this device these days.
Definitely, when we do a training session, I ask people what is their most private device, and by far everybody confirms it's their mobile devices. It's literally your life. It's become our life. If you haven't got your mobile device with you, you feel naked. To protect yourself, awareness is the number one aspect for yourself as well as for your children. We're talking about the child pornography and exposure of pornography to children as well. Awareness, number one. Number two, you have to install software to protect yourself. Number three,
on your cell phone.
On your cell phones, on your mobile devices.
Let's talk software first before you move on there. So how do I go about it? Just talk to me like I know nothing, because I do know nothing. I don't think I've got software in my phone. Do I? If I haven't downloaded it, do I have?
By default, it doesn't come out with it. Some of the devices, some of the mobile devices, as you know, has got some form of encryption or protection on it.
Yeah.
But that is by default factory settings. It's not sufficient. to protect you. So you have to, without naming any programs or so, the best way is to go online, on the internet, search for your type of mobile device, and then look for what type of security is available. You can get security to protect your email communications, your phone communication, your applications to scan it, for example, so that is available. And then also to focus on downloading applications that has been tested and certified as being accepted. What we see is what happens is the programmers basically launches an application without closing that programming language. So they publish it as a beta version, and then they leave it up to the public to basically come and show out mistakes in the program. So that's why they don't close the program. But what the hackers do is, if they find a beta version that's not been closed or compiled yet, they would load their virus or their malware into that source code of the application. You download it with it. So go to sites that is tested, that is trusted, and download your application from there.
If I go into just your, let's talk about your Android or your Apple app stores, are those tried and tested? Because there are hundreds of thousands out there. I mean, are they tried and tested? Can I trust that when I download one of those apps onto my phone that I'm okay or not?
Unfortunately, where computers and cybercrime and cyber criminals are involved, nothing is secure.
So
they are the more trusted sites, yes, but it's also a situation of it's not above board. If we look at the news, all the large corporates, the large IT firms has been compromised, has been hacked. So as a blanket answer, I can't say yes, they can be trusted, but they are the more secure sites.
Is there anything we can look out for? I remember in the good old days when you knew that if you were going to do a transaction online, you had to look for that lock in the corner. I mean, those days are almost gone. Because, I mean, no, you still have to look for it, but you're so much more visible these days. You know, is there something that I, as an individual or a consumer, can look for, knowing that I'm safe downloading a particular app, or not really, not yet?
No, unfortunately not. The syndicates has learned how to also on your websites compromise the little lock sign, etc. So for every fix that the financial institutions get or develop, the syndicates also learn how to bypass that measures. So no, there's not a set rule that you can follow starting, and they're not aware of the threats that's posed by cyber criminals.
Sure. Is it annually due to cybercrime?
I would say that that's a very conservative measurement. As I said, our firm specialize and play within the field of the corporates making use of our services, government, etc. So we don't see the full picture, but definitely it should be higher than that.
Sure. Thank you for joining us. The sad reality as to what's happening out there, but you really need to protect yourself. I am personally going to ask you which site I go to and what I can download to protect myself on my phone. Danny Myburgh, thank you so much for talking to us about cybercrime and the problems associated here in South Africa.